Hello, in this session we're going to do VAT, just the calculation of it, how to go to from the net value to the gross value, how to go from the gross value to the net value for value added tax for supplies that are in this instance standard rated. So the VAT for standard rate at the moment is 20%. So how do we add on the 20% or take it off? I just understand that a few of you are having difficulties with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 4 different methods for doing this, and you'll just see which one sticks with you, which one you feel best with. So the methods are going to be just a straight equation, an equation method. The other one which I'm going to call narrative algebra, which really is you just turn it into a sentence and then read it back to yourself and do the opposite, and it comes up with the answer. Then I'm going to give you a ratio table. Ratio tables are useful for a lot of things when you're working out percentages. So we'll work out how to do ratio tables. I'll give you a more detailed version as well if you want, in terms of there's a video on that. Or I'm going to give you an extension of that, which is going to be just create a picture, and it's a sort of a foolproof method. The last two are sort of pretty foolproof methods. They just need a little bit more time. So the VAT equation. Let's say we sell a service of £500. It's standard rated. The VAT calculation would be, to get to the gross figure, 500 times by 120% divided by 100%, and that gets you £600. The VAT on that would be 600 minus 100 minus the 500, so that's £100. And that would be it. So if you're getting it from that point of view, that's good. You stick with that method. If you want to go from the gross cost back to the net cost, so you got this sort of final figure on an invoice or a final payment that was charged, and you need to work out the VAT and the net price, because you're going to try and turn post those into your journals with the VAT going into your liabilities and the net price going into your income. It would be 700 divided by 120% times by 120%, and that's the net price, 583. And the VAT would be 700 minus the 583, and that would be that's that really. So you've got two methods there available to you. On the equation method, some people shortcut and say, right, well, the VAT on the 700 must be that divided by 6. That's the method, but that's the equation method. So basically, to add VAT to get to the gross figure, you multiply by 1.2. To take away VAT to get to the net figure, you divide by 1.2, and then you just take that net or gross figure away from the net or gross figure to give you a VAT. So that's one method. That's the first method. If you're getting that in the equations, fine, stick with that. If you're not getting that, option number 2 is that you could turn it into a sentence. So let's say we take our example again. I'm thinking of a number, and I multiply it by 120, and I divide it by 100, and the answer is 600. What was the number? So I've turned it into now a sentence here, and all you do is you do the opposite of this and work backwards. So I'm thinking the answer was 600. In this sentence, I divide it by 100, so I multiply it by 100. I multiply it by 120, so I divide it by 120, and the answer's there. So it'd be 600 multiplied by 100 divided by 120, and the answer would be 500. So that would be how you get the net figure. So that might click with you in terms of being able to, especially I'm going to focus on going from gross to net, because that seems to always be the harder one. That method might work for you. So put that into some questions, and in class we'll do some questions on that and do it in that method. To get to the gross figure, let's do this again. I'm thinking of a number, multiply it by 100, I divide it by 120, and the answer is 500. So let's now do the opposite. So the answer is 500. I multiply it by 120, I divide it by 100, and that number is 600, and that would be your gross figure. You might find that an easier method, or that might be a version that clicks with you. And remember, with this, all I'm doing is I'm putting four methods up there, though, and you'll find the one that feels easiest for you. So you got a 1 in 4 chance of liking that method. The next method that we're going to use is we're going to use ratio tables. So in a ratio table, what you do is that you lay out a table and you put what you know on the left hand side. So in this instance, I've got 2 values here. I've got percentages and I've got values, and I know I've got 100%. So let's say I've got the net figure, and that 100% is equal to 500. I need to get to 120. Yeah. Then what I do next is I play around with that ratio table to get to the 120. So in this instance, I can see, well, it'd be quite nice, and this is literally you just play around with these figures. I need to get to 20, 120. I need to add on 20. I know 20 is a fifth of 100, so I divide both of those by 5, and I got 20 in the percentage column, and I got 100 in the values amount, and then I just add them together. And so that then is an easier way of doing it if you're finding it a bit tricky in the equation. So you can do, or you can do the other way around, and you can have this ratio table where you're starting off with the gross figure, and you put it in there as 120, and you've got your value of 700, and I need to get back to 100. Now in this one there, though, I don't really like trying to get from 120, or it's down to, I mean, I could divide by 6 and give myself 20, that's one method, but I'm going to divide it by half first, so I get 60 and 350. I feel a little bit more comfortable then, and I divide that by 3 then, and then I've got what the VAT is that way. Can be just an easier way to do it. Again, I'm just saying whatever clicks with you, really. Yeah, and then you just add those, the 20 and the, or in this instance, take the 120, minus off 20 of it, and you get the net figure, and you get the VAT in your ratio table. Pretty foolproof method that, even though it looks a little bit more long-winded. In an exam, that's going to really hold up as a method, so I tend to use that a lot in GCSE maths exams. The alternative is to draw it out pictorially, a sort of an extension of this ratio table. You can do this here because you've got it nice solidly, the net being 5 little blocks, the gross being 6 little blocks. So you just create these little amount values in there, 6 lots of 20 being the gross figure, and 5 lots and the net, 5 lots of 20 into the net figure, and you just put the numbers in and then just add them up. And that is VAT, your 4 different options. If you feel that you're struggling and you just want to be able to nail it down, what will tend to happen is that an experienced professional accountant will find it difficult to will just sort of do the equations because they do it forever and a day. That's what it is. It's just second nature. Somebody coming new to accountancy, this actually might be a little bit tricky. And so that's why I'm sort of giving 4 options. Eventually, you'll always go back to the equation method because it's just faster and quicker. But as in the interim, whilst you're just trying to make sure it sort of solidly gets together, one of the other 3 options might really help you. And I hope that helped. Thanks a lot. Hello.